What if I told you one of the hardest jobs in the world doesn't receive a paycheck? Not because it isn't valuable, but because we've decided it's simply a responsibility. So here's tonight's question. Should a woman get paid to raise her own children? Some of you just shouted yes, others immediately said no. Tonight, let's think. Now, why this question matters. Families are changing. Rising childcare costs, cost of living, inflation, and also families nowadays need two incomes. Parenting has economic value. Now, obviously, being a parent requires time. It requires labor, emotional support, teaching, protection, and sacrifice. And many times, the parent that has custody of the children has to sacrifice in terms of wages and earnings and time out of the labor force. And that even includes if it's more or less probably would apply to single mothers, because normally single fathers with custody of the children still go to work and they don't take as much time off. Also, you have falling birth rates. Many countries are worried about declining birth rates and aging populations. Society depends on children. Now, today's children become tomorrow's doctors, teachers, military members, entrepreneurs, and taxpayers. Question for you guys. Should raising children be viewed as one of society's most important jobs? Yeah. Now, all right. The case for paying mothers. Raising children is full-time work. It is a tough job. Feeding, teaching, discipline, clothing, transportation, homework, emotional care, and safety of the children. The opportunity costs. Okay? The custodial parent, and normally with obviously mothers, it can cost promotions, retirement savings, lost wages, and many times career advancement is sacrificed because they are raising their children and their kids. Now, childcare obviously is not free. It's extremely expensive. The cost of daycare versus a stay-at-home parent. Which do you choose? And that would depend on the parent's specific situation. Some may be married, but if they're single, in many cases, they may not have the option to be a stay-at-home parent. Okay. Now, how does society benefit? Obviously, healthy children often become productive adults. Economic recognition. Okay. Unpaid family labor deserves financial recognition. That is the question. Should there be payment, for it, or is it just responsibility? If daycare workers get paid, should mothers? All right. And I know that some are biased. Everybody has their opinions concerning this topic. Some have a case against paying mothers. Parenting is a personal choice. The belief that choosing to have children includes accepting responsibility. Who pays? The government, taxpayers, employers, husbands. Which one? Money doesn't come out of anywhere. Somebody has to foot the bill if this route is chosen. Now, fairness. Should fathers receive the same benefit? Adoptive parents, grandparents raising their grandchildren? What's the cost to society? Taxes, budgets, and the economic impact. Um, should this come about? Could it be abused? Potential fraud, eligibility, oversight, and unintended consequences. If parenting, if parenting becomes a paid profession, where do we draw the line? And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. You know, and maybe we're asking the wrong question. Maybe it isn't about a salary. Um, you know, is it better? You know what I'm saying? Give better child care, tax credits, parental leave, or family support. Maybe that's more effective. Or might we say maybe it's about value? You know, um, whether society has unintentionally undervalued parenting, you know, that's the question. And that is going to, it depends on each situation and every society. But I think this is a pertinent question, especially here in the West and even in parts of the world where societies are like first world countries and they're highly developed, like the United States, China, Australia, Japan, Canada, England, all throughout Europe. This is a question that has to be asked. Different countries, you know what I'm saying? Different nations support families in different ways. You know, what kind of society are we building? And this right here, think beyond politics, ladies and gentlemen. We have to think beyond politics on this one. Now, I have a thought experiment for you. Imagine two women. Woman A earns a six-figure salary and has no children. Woman B raises four children full time and never earns a paycheck. Here's the question: which one contributed more to society? And leave your comments. You know what I'm saying? Respectful discussion without picking a side. And that's up to you guys. All right. The bigger picture. Money isn't the only question. Obviously, when it comes to raising and caring for children, the biggest thing I believe is love, obviously sacrifice, responsibility, and legacy. Children are the legacy of their parents. And now here's my personal take on it. I don't think that children should be turned into how am I trying to say this? I guess treated like some type of opportunity, or either what would you call it? Treated like a non-living asset. Children need love, they need time, need attention, and they need affection. And I think that love, comes before money and any payment. I'm of the personal opinion, under normal circumstances, unless a woman has been raped, a mother should, what I'm saying, and both parents, but a mother should love, what I'm saying, her children, and it should be her honor and responsibility, what I'm saying, both parents to want to raise their kids. Now, whether or not they should be paid, I can't say either. I mean, in the United States, we do have social support systems, which is known as welfare, food stamps, EBT, different social programs, for single parents. Now, obviously, in the United States, and probably most of the world, I think, I can't speak for most of the world, but I know the United States and a lot of the West, many of the mothers, wind up having the kid custodial, having custody of the children. You know, there's a few fathers that do, but even when the fathers have full custody of the parents, pretty much 90% of the fathers are still, going to work. You know what I'm saying? And they are not really. It's not as much of a difference between them and maybe say single men. That don't have custody of their kids, or the single men are still, going to work and, going about their business. Now, parenting shapes civilization. Every leader, soldier, scientist, teacher, entrepreneur was once someone's child. Obviously, we have to respect differences and choices. Some believe in being working parents. Some believe in being stay-at-home parents. Some are single parents, and some are blended families. So you have different opinions and ideologies regarding this topic. So maybe this debate isn't really about money. Maybe it's about what we value. Maybe it's about recognizing sacrifice. Maybe it's about asking ourselves, what kind of future do we want? Because every society invests in something. The question is, should raising children be one of those investments? Yeah. And I have to leave that answer, to you. That's for you to decide. That is for you to decide. Yeah. And remember, we stop, we think, and we grow together. Subscribe to Snakz Thoughts. Subscribe. If you enjoy respectful conversations about life, culture, and the future, like this episode. Engagement helps thoughtful conversations reach more people. So please, engage. Share this episode. Send it to parents, educators, policymakers, and friends. Leave a comment. Should a woman get paid to raise her own children? Why or why not? Keep it respectful. My final question. Should a woman get paid to raise her own children? Yes or no? And this is a poll. Would you say only under certain circumstances? Or there are no easy answers, only conversations worth having? But that's all I have on this one. I have a part 2 and a part 3 to this coming up. So more to come, guys. Also, I have a YouTube channel, Eric Broadus YouTube, EricBroadus. And also I'm on Rumble, Snakz123, SNAKZ123 on Rumble. On those channels, I do military content, and I also have some other content on those channels. So please go to the YouTube channel, smash the bell to become a subscriber, and turn on the bell. Hit the bell to turn on all notifications. Hit the hype button on YouTube to push the content out. Hit the like or unlike button, and either way, leave a comment. Love to dialogue with you and hear your thoughts on Snakz123 on Rumble. Join and follow me over there. Leave a comment, hit the like or unlike button to like the content. But this is some food for thought, guys. But